Good morning friends, welcome to PSIR Analytica. I am Nikhil Gowda, the Insights PSIR faculty. So today's question the question is on directive principle of state policy. The same thing is that we can see that many people have read lot of points regarding DPSP, Lakshmikant in that regard. But more importantly, in these kind of question, we need to understand the demand of the question. Then we need to try to approach the demand of the question based on what we have read and how we can connect it. So let us take a look at the question first. The question says that increasing focus on directive principle of state policy in recent times. You need to comment on it. So basically when they are asking you comment on this statement, one, you need to first tell what is directive principle of state policy very briefly in that regard. Don't go on writing half the page. Then you have to give examples in the recent times that where we can see there is a lot of focus on DPSP. So you need to give recent examples. And then you need to write with respect to that why there is increasing focus. See, in these kind of questions, you cannot say that, there has been no focus. You cannot build a counter argument in that regard. It's a 10-marker question. You basically agree because there has been focus with respect to directive principle of state policy. Now, how would I start my answer? Basically, my introduction would be Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who is considered as the modern Manu, called the preamble or the DPSP as the soul of the Indian Constitution. And then you can bring the argument in that regard, saying that in recent times we can see there is a lot of focus on DPSP. How? You give one or two examples. The implementation of Manrega. There is also talks about implementing uniform civil code in that regard. Then you can also speak about the cow slaughter bill which has been introduced in many states in that regard. Then we can also see the government has brought various programs to reduce increasing inequalities in India, such as during the COVID-19 situation. You can speak about the Pradhan Mantri Anna Yojana, which was there. I am not able to get the full form of the scheme. So then you need to write about why there has been increased focus on DPSP. One, you can mention it is because the government has more resources today to implement various directive principles. Second one, competitive politics. Competitive politics requires what? It requires parties competing for promoting welfare notion. So most of the welfare provisions are mentioned in directive principle of state policy. Third one, you can also say the role of judiciary. Judiciary has directed the government in many cases to implement directive principle of state policy. Example you can give the Sarla Mudgal case or the Shabano judgment. Fourth one, you can also see DPSP is a mix of many ideologies. So when different parties come to power, they try to implement that aspect or that part of the ideology which is contained in DPSP. That is why it serves as a common political manifesto. Fifth one, we can also see because of liberalization, privatization, globalization, today we are seeing rising inequalities. Rising inequalities will always be as Aristotle had argued, it can be a root cause for revolution or revolt, even the perception of it. Hence, we can see different governments have been trying to perform welfare functions to focus on Article 39B and C of the Constitution. Sixth one is the what you can say, rise in awareness and capacity of Indian civil society, where they have been able to exert pressure on government, especially the environmental groups, to bring lot of laws in protecting the environment. So in this regard, you can speak about Environmental Protection Act 1986. Okay, the recent the laws which they brought in regard to the plastic pollution in that regard. Hence, we are seeing that there is increasing focus in DPSP in recent times. So then you can say, as Ambedkar in the beginning had predicted that though DPSP is not justiciable in nature, but no ruling government can ignore these moral principles. If they ignore, they will be answerable to the people in the coming elections. So this is what Ambedkar has. This you can use it in your conclusion. Friends, I am sorry, I think he mentioned as soul of the Constitution. He didn't mention as soul. He said this is a novel feature of the Indian Constitution. So please make this one correction, because preamble was referred to as the soul of the Constitution. So friends, this is how we can address this question in that regard. So again, don't worry about adding too many scholars. Address the demand of the question, and you can use Ambedkar or another view in the introduction or the conclusion. With this, we have come to an end to this week's question discussion. We'll meet again the next week with a new set of questions, since the next week the questions will be on paper 2 part A. So till then, take care, stay safe, enjoy your weekend. Thank you.